Joining us is South African cricketer Faf Du Plessis, who's currently in Abu Dhabi playing in the Abu Dhabi T10 League for Sampa Army. Faf, firstly, thank you so much for being here and speaking to us here on the Times Network.
Thank you so much for having me.
Faf, I want to start by asking you, tell us a little about your experience of playing in the shortest format and playing for Sampa Army.
Yeah, Sampa Army has done really well. I think for last year as well as a campaign, they were in the top two teams leading up after the group stages. So we've done exactly the same this year. So that's credit to everyone in the franchise for doing a really good job. For me, it's been really fun just to get back on the cricket field. I had an operation 3 months ago on my arm, which was relatively big surgery for my arm. So just almost enjoying the process of slowly getting back into getting myself on the cricket field. T10 is obviously a very fast format, probably not a lot of time to find your feet. But it's just, for me, it's really been just a focus on the process. Just get out there, have a bit of fun again, just get through some batting. Don't not eat too many balls because obviously you got to get your arm strong again. So yeah, really just enjoyed that step-by-step almost process to get me back to where I want to be.
Well, absolutely. Faf, you spoke about how quick this format is. That is what I wanted to ask you about as well. It also makes it very spectator-friendly. You're in and out in no time. So that way also it's a very good format, you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good in the sense that if you've got a few guys in some really good touch and some really good form, like the competition really goes according to plan almost. But on the other side of it, if you have, a few guys that are a little bit low on runs or just not as producing as well in the bowling department, I think the game really then gets on top of you. If you look at a team like the Abu Dhabi team, I think they've got a really good cricket team. But just the nature of it, I mean, I think they've lost 6 games in a row, which if you've asked before the competition, you would have said never happening. But it just shows you the tournament. It's just you have to be lucky that a few guys are playing well, and then they can just really jump on a purple patch and cash in on that.
Faf, taking you back home where the Indian team has already reached for the high voltage series against South Africa. How are you looking forward to it? We are hoping to see packed stadiums in South Africa to support the Indian team as well.
You will see. I mean, cricket in South Africa, I find, has almost found a new energy again in terms of fans. We had a really good competition locally in South Africa, the SA20, where, it was really sellouts everywhere you went. So, yeah, a big series is like India are a great thing to be a part of as a player, but also the fans really enjoying seeing some of the Indian superstars come to our country and put on a show. So, not the longest of tours. I always fan of 2 test match series. You feel like just when you almost get to the main meal, then the tour is finished. But that's how the scheduling works these days. So always just nice to have them in South Africa. And I know also knowing the Indian players, they really enjoy traveling to South Africa. The culture around South Africa, the food. So they love going there.
And Faf, I want to ask you about Sukumar Yadav. We are starting with the T20 series of what you've observed of him. He has become quite the destructive player in the shorter format.
Yeah, he is an incredible player to watch. Not so incredible to captain against because he gives you a lot of grey hair the way that he can access the ball in all angles of the field. But yeah, guys like him, it's just they're so good for the game because it's almost like if you fast forward the game 10, 15, 20 years from now, and everyone will play like him. He's just got all the shots. So for the older horses like myself, we try and make sure we stick to what we know best, and that we can't do all of those things. But it's always great. Yeah, it's great playing against him.
And any younger players or new players that you're looking forward to in this series, whether it's from South Africa or India? I believe there are going to be a lot of new faces in both sides.
Yeah, the thing with what I find with Indian cricket that's really good is obviously the IPL has really made the pool of players really big. So if you it's so difficult to break into that national team always. You have guys competing over and over and over again and scoring bucket loads of runs and never really getting the opportunity. So I sometimes feel with India they could pick, 3, 4, 5 cricket teams and still be um, very competitive, especially in the batting department. I feel like the batsmen in India generally are very, very dangerous when it comes to white ball cricket. So yeah, that you would see again this series that there'll be 1 or 2 guys that perhaps the fans won't know too much of in South Africa, and then they'll get there and they'll go, "Who is this guy playing for India? That's so dangerous." So that's the great thing about international cricket. There's always a platform for you as a player where you can just go to another level. Obviously people in India would know a lot of the players, but when it comes to the international game, every opportunity you get, you got to make sure you take it with both hands.
Faf, I want to ask you one question about your return to T20 fold, because you pleasantly surprised, I think, all your fans when you spoke about wanting to be there in the T20 World Cup. So is that what you were saying when you made that statement, that you are ready to play in the T20 World Cup that happens in USA and West Indies?
Yeah, so I think for a while now, we've always been this very open conversation around the possibility around that. The last 2 seasons, I suppose the challenge was that there wasn't yet a T20 contract version as of then yet in South Africa. So you either play Test cricket or you play one-day cricket. So anything outside of that really then becomes hard to find that middle ground between, I suppose, the player and cricket. So like with any other cricketing nations right now, the game has evolved quite a bit. So you got to find, you got to move with the times. And I think, you're seeing guys, Trent Bolt, guys like them from New Zealand. I think someone like Quinton de Kock is now probably in that phase of his career when he said he's done with Test cricket, he's done with one-day cricket, so now the only thing really that's left would be T20 cricket. And in order to make sure that you keep those great players playing the game, you need to have some sort of method that makes sure that they're still available. So I think a few of us will fall into that conversation, and especially in the context of South Africa, like if you call it the T20 specialists. Guys like Riley Rousseau, Quinton de Kock, myself, we all fall in that category. So from my understanding, they want to introduce these T20 contracts from March next year. So then obviously the conversation is open again around, okay, but from a player perspective, we need to perform. I need to make sure that I'm at the top of my game and to be eligible to get myself back into that team. I'm still very optimistic around that. I feel like when I am playing at my best in terms of batting, I do bring a lot to any team. And then also obviously from a leadership perspective, there's some real experience for me. And I also, having played in the CPL for a few years now, I think all of that collective experience makes you a better team. So if all goes well and all goes to plan and everything works out, then I hope that's the case, yes.
Well, we've seen your explosive batting in IPL for RCB, so we know pretty much what you're capable of. But before I let you go, Faf, I just want you to give a message for all the fans of T10, the shortest format in cricket.
Yeah, thank you for your support. I've been surprised and encouraged to see the amount of fans that's been at the games here in the T10. The crowds have been really good, so obviously people are enjoying the cricket. This tournament has been a strange one in the sense that one game is like a high-scoring, almost run feast, and then 45 minutes later another game starts and the ball is swinging around and nipping around, and it's like Test cricket. So I think it's been very entertaining watching as a fan because you see everything. You see fast bowlers, you see swing, you see spinners doing well, and you see some really big sixes as well. So I think from a competition point of view, it's gone really well for everyone.
Well, thank you so much for your time and wish you all the best for your future tournaments.
Thank you very much for having me. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Good.